It wasn't a singular piece of advice that transformed my life. It wasn't an enlightening book, a compelling or an inspiring teacher. All of these experiences served merely as catalysts, igniting a spark within me. The true metamorphosis began when I summoned the courage to meet my own gaze and confront a profound realization. I had never truly loved myself in a meaningful way. I had lived under the assumption that my worth needed to be proven and validated by others to justify my very existence. Consequently, my life became a series of behaviors that were dictated by external expectations rather than being authentically my own. I found myself working tirelessly to be liked, compromising my beliefs and desires just to maintain peace, remaining silent out of fear of judgment, and sacrificing my own needs in hopes of gaining recognition. Yet the more I conformed to these imposed standards, the emptier I felt inside, as if I were merely a shadow shaped and constrained by the desires of others. It was in that moment of realization that I understood. I could never construct a meaningful life without first establishing a solid foundation of self-love. Loving oneself is not merely about treating yourself to gifts or taking care of your physical body. It is a choice grounded in how you choose to live your life. It means protecting your energy by saying no to things that drain you instead of pretending to please others. It encompasses the courage to pursue your own beliefs even if they go against societal expectations, rather than seeking validation from others to feel worthy. Authentic love does not stem from perfection. It emerges from a conscious decision to accept oneself wholly. I resolved that I would support myself even in moments when I felt insufficient, weak, or lost. Every significant change begins with this critical decision. No one is coming to rescue you. Try ours. Change occurs when you stop abandoning yourself. You cannot start a new chapter in your life while continually living in the old one, blaming the past, your upbringing, or your circumstances. While those wounds are undeniably real, healing begins the moment you query whether you still want to live in such cycles. If the answer is no, then it is time to act differently. You must redefine your self-worth based on criteria beyond the judgments of others. Your value does not reside in the roles you play, the income you earn, or the number of likes you receive. It is based on how you treat yourself when no one is watching, when there is no applause or recognition. A person who genuinely loves themselves recognizes that they do not need saving. They possess the ability to rescue themselves, not through feigned toughness, but through profound honesty. I have experienced hurt, yet I refuse to allow pain to dictate my life. I've made mistakes, but I won't imprison myself in perpetual self-punishment. I may have felt vulnerable at times, but I refuse to wear the victim mask for eternity. The commitment to love oneself is a subtle yet transformative turning point as it reclaims ownership of your life. Here's a reality that's hard to accept. When you do not love yourself, you will seek love from others in a dependent manner, allowing them to define your worth and dictate how you should live. You will find yourself perpetually seeking reassurance, praise, and validation, rendering you vulnerable to manipulation and emotional harm. However, when you embrace self-love, you establish yourself as your own benchmark. You no longer feel compelled to compete or to prove yourself to others. You recognize your intrinsic worth, irrespective of external acknowledgement. Let's be clear, self-love is not selfishness. It is not about abandoning others. Rather, it is the fundamental foundation that enables you to love others in a healthy and genuine way. Those who do not know how to love themselves, regardless of their efforts, love from a place of scarcity. They give to receive, they sacrifice for recognition, and they act out of fear of losing rather than the freedom of choice. True love blossoms when you no longer require someone else to fill your void because you are already whole. So where do you start? Begin by placing your hand over your heart and making a solemn promise to yourself. From this moment forward, I will no longer betray myself. No more deceiving myself about my feelings. No more living contrary to my values. And no more remaining in relationships that diminish my spirit. Every day, make choices that honor yourself through the smallest actions. Daring to say no, choosing rest, speaking your truth, or letting go of anything that no longer serves you. These acts embody the deepest form of self-love. Your life is not transformed by someone else. A teacher, a partner, or some miraculous event can open the door to change, but only you can step through it. They can inspire you, yet you must be the one to spark action within yourself. Stop waiting for someone else to affirm your worth. Comprehend that you have always been worthy. Once you believe in your own value, stop seeking permission to exist and choose to love yourself as a deliberate action rather than a mere feeling. You can begin anew. But this cycle of renewal does not arise from chasing after external accolades or achievements. It starts with returning to your authentic self and gazing sincerely into your own reflection. The only person you need to make amends with is the one looking back at you in the mirror. This introspection is where everything begins, and it is where you will uncover the power to reshape your life in ways that only you can achieve, for this life is uniquely yours. It is only when you truly love yourself that you gain the energy to transform your existence into a masterpiece that no one can replicate. It will be a life fashioned by your own hands, free from the weight of other people's expectations. Have you ever achieved a milestone you once craved, only to be met with an inexplicable emptiness afterward? Have you found yourself praised and acknowledged, yet still felt as if you were cloaked in a mask you couldn't remove? This discontent arises from the choice to navigate life according to the wrong compass. You may have let achievement dictate your path, allowing validation to guide your decisions and neglecting the most crucial element of your journey: joy. This is not the fleeting joy that accompanies momentary gratification. It is the profound and enduring kind that emerges only when we align ourselves with our true selves. Many pursue personal growth as if it were a competition, making plans, setting goals, and marking milestones only to fall into the trap of comparison with others. Each step taken forward becomes less about joy and more about measuring up. When results lag behind expectations, doubt begins to seep in. We must remember that goals are designed to guide us toward more meaningful lives, not torment us. Discovering that meaning becomes nearly impossible when every stride is heavy with stress, fear, and external pressures. I once thought that joy was merely a reward at the finish line, something to be earned through proving my worth, fulfilling obligations, and achieving enough. But I learned that I was mistaken. Joy isn't the culmination, it is the starting point. Joy is the initial energy, the very heartbeat of a soulful existence. When we choose joy as our compass, we find that we no longer need external reasons to feel fulfilled. We do not require anyone's approval to know we are on the right path, and we don't have to postpone living until we achieve success. We can begin right now. Reflect on what makes you feel truly alive. What captivates you so much that time slips away? When you find those moments of genuine joy, even in the smallest form, and begin to structure your life around them, a profound shift takes place. You will no longer be motivated by the need to prove yourself. Instead, you'll be driven by the desire to express your authentic self. Learning, helping others, and pursuing your passions will become acts of joy, rather than obligations tied to recognition. Joy does not exclude effort. Rather, it is a powerful fuel that sustains perseverance. When you engage in what you love with joy, you find it difficult to quit. When you delight in the journey itself, you are unfazed by the lack of external pressure. Genuine joy doesn't require everything to unfold perfectly. Rather, it flourishes in the knowledge that you are living authentically, free of pretenses, strain, and hypocrisy. What matters is that you embody bravery in your choices. Choosing joy entails saying no to crowded pathways, societal norms, and pre-formulated definitions of success. You may have to disappoint others to ensure you do not disappoint yourself. It requires a willingness to slow down and reconnect with your inner voice. You need to be willing to change course, even if the old path appeared dazzling but now fails to ignite your spirit. Though this journey may seem challenging, it is the right kind of challenge. There is no greater reward than living with clarity and integrity. Do not confuse joy with comfort. Comfort breeds stagnation, while true joy propels you forward, even amidst uncertainty. Joy isn't always pleasant. Sometimes it manifests as the sweat you shed while pursuing your passion, or the loneliness you feel while choosing the road less traveled. It might come as anxiety when you leave the safety of the familiar in pursuit of living truthfully. Yet even amid these complexities, you will feel more vibrantly alive than ever. Ultimately, the happiest individuals are not those who achieve the most, but those who understand what truly brings them to life and dare to construct a reality around it. They are not free from struggles, but they refuse to allow those obstacles to extinguish their inner fire. This fire is sustained solely by true joy and not by accolades or superficial attention. When you live in joy, you naturally become a source of nourishment for others. You need not explain your essence. Your energy illuminates the way. Those around you will feel that radiant light and become inspired to reflect upon their own lives, not out of jealousy, but in search of awakening. You need not engage in grand gestures to assert you are living authentically. Sometimes it is simply about having the courage to change a long-standing habit, to listen to your body's needs, to assert, "I don't want this," or to select a slower, more authentic path. These quiet yet significant choices shape a life worthy of living. They are far more meaningful than a mere list of accomplishments. So starting today, ask yourself, what truly brings me joy? Am I living in alignment with that joy, or am I sacrificing it for others' approval? If I were to choose joy as my guiding compass, what would I choose to do differently right now? The answers lie within you. Your path will reveal itself as you take your first steps grounded in your own truth, rather than seeking validation on someone else's stage. You have the right to. Oh, lead a life filled with both depth and joy, a life that does not hinge on pleasing the world, yet still brings a smile to your face each morning upon waking. This isn't wishful thinking, it's a tangible choice, one that commences when you cease measuring your worth by external applause and instead begin listening to the voice of your own heart. Every day you are surrounded by a current that often goes unnoticed. The flow of energy from the people you encounter, the words you hear, the habits you observe, and even the atmosphere enveloping you. Your environment encompasses more than just geographical location or physical surroundings. It is the accumulation of mental, emotional, and psychological influences that you engage with on a daily basis. Whether you're aware of it or not, this environment is never neutral. It either uplifts you or subtly drags you down. You may have a brilliant plan, specific goals, and unwavering determination. However, if you immerse yourself in a climate of constant negativity, distrustful glances, conversations steeped in complaint, or stagnant habits, you will soon find yourself assimilating into mediocrity. You don't necessarily need an outright conflict or someone actively sabotaging your aspirations. Just a slight delay in your progress each day, a seemingly harmless but mediocre piece of advice, or a careless remark can instill doubt and shift you from the course you once cherished. Conversely, stepping into an environment filled with individuals striving for growth will inspire you. When you surround yourself with people who discuss solutions rather than wallow in complaints, and where success is a source of inspiration rather than envy, you become nourished. Even as you navigate your journey of self-discovery and self-improvement, the mere act of being in a vibrant space inhibits you from reverting to mediocrity. You begin to think differently, act differently, and respond differently. Not out of obligation, but because this atmosphere awakens the noblest aspects of your character. The pertinent question is not whether your environment affects you, but rather, is the environment I inhabit worthy of the person I aspire to become? Many individuals find themselves ensnared in toxic cycles without realizing it, simply because they have grown too accustomed. They accept complaints, lower expectations, superficial relationships, and a rhythm of life devoid of light, pacifying themselves with the belief that that's just life. But this is merely a distorted version of life, molded by a flawed environment. You do not need to sever all ties and start anew, but a deep sense of honesty is required. Assess each relationship, every space you inhabit, and the conversations that fill your ears. Is this environment fortifying you, or is it constricting your growth? Does it broaden your vision, or does it confine you to safety? Is it fostering belief in your capability, or is it perpetuating feelings of guilt for wanting too much? These answers may be challenging to accept, yet they form the starting point for reclaiming your life. It can be hard to acknowledge that sometimes the very people closest to you may inadvertently impede your progress. The words that sow seeds of doubt may come from family or friends, not out of malice, but because they operate within their own frameworks of belief, and their limitations should not dictate your own. You do not need to harbor animosity or wage a war against anyone. Instead, you have the right to create distance for the sake of protecting your journey. You can choose to not listen, to quietly shift your pace, modify your responses, and reshape your mental landscape. Seek out and nurture relationships that foster growth, individuals who do not merely clap for your successes but also possess the courage to speak truth when you veer off course. Look for those who speak positively and consistently embody those values, inspiring you how to live better, work more kindly, and cultivate bravery every single day through their mere presence. If you find yourself lacking such uplifting connections at present, don't lose hope. Seek them out in books, podcasts, online communities, and learning spaces. You can become the architect of your own positive environment. Within your world, every choice, every conversation, and every space can serve as a reminder that you are here to rise, not to repeat past patterns. Creating a nourishing environment is not without cost. It demands that you step outside your comfort zone and embrace the initial discomfort that accompanies growth. It calls for you to release old habits that no longer serve you and to venture into new territories that foster the person you wish to become. While the journey may be challenging, the rewards of living with clarity and purpose will far outweigh the hardships involved. It is through this reclamation of your life that you will learn to embrace joy as both a path and a destination, ultimately leading you to a more authentic and fulfilling existence. Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to stay updated with more motivational content. Like, share, and comment to support our work and spread the message.